All right, Joseph. So it's a pleasure to have you here and just having the opportunity to be able to hear from your various experiences. I've just been curious, like I was just saying prior to this conversation, to say you look to be a very interesting person professional-wise. And if you can just give us a breakdown of where this IT journey started, what are some of the challenges you've been seeing, where you've been, what tunnels you've crawled into, and that we can just at least glean some of the information and experiences that you've had, and later on just help us to also be motivated and just find the real zeal as to why we should remain in this career path.
First of all, John, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity. So first of all, I'm Joseph Scell Jr. I'm a Liberian, like Wilfred, and I presently work with the United Nations as an IT infrastructure consultant. I have a bachelor in electronics engineering. I have a master's in cybersecurity, and I'm also doing another master's. First, I want to say I'm a master in cybersecurity from the University of Liverpool, UK, and I'm also doing a master's in data science and artificial intelligence at the University of Luxembourg. So I have close to 10 years or a decade of experience. I've worked across various sectors, in the non-governmental sector, telecommunication, I've done customer support, IT infrastructure, and cybersecurity areas. So my journey started back in college. I have a very good friend. His name is Onismus Bokwat, who has had immense impact on my life and career, as well as Wilfred Delany, who has always been a big brother and a friend. I had passion. I first wanted to become a pilot. However, due to the environment I found myself, I didn't have the opportunity or the luxury of the school, the support for that. So sometimes in life, there's a saying in my local language, wherever you tie the goat is where the goat is going to eat. So I had to take a I had to take a look at the landscape of things and realize that, okay, what can I do? Considering the fact that nowadays the dispensation will find ourselves, it is not passion that pay the bills anymore, but what you can do to get you something in your pocket to take care of your family. So though I had passion to become a pilot, I couldn't, and I got a scholarship from the government of Liberia, and I did my electronics engineering degree. While in college, I came across a friend called Onismus Bokwa. I'm from a family of a lot of people, and I have 7 sisters and myself and a brother. But in an African setting where the family has a lot of children, catering to everyone of their needs becomes a challenge.
That's right.
So I couldn't afford a computer, but I used to use my friend Onismus' computer. So back then I used to do we had the Nokia where you used to develop the teams. So we used to use a tool called JSDIP and Fire Explorer where I would create teams. For example, you want to see your picture in the Nokia, taking the Nokia phone. You want for your picture to appear as a messaging app on those kind of things. That's where I started. And because Onismus had a computer, we'll use Onismus' computer. I will wait for him. But I will also go and research on the internet using the school resource, and then practicalize it on Onismus' computer. And Onismus and I became friends from there. And because my parents didn't have money to send me to Ghana to go to university because I really developed passion for IT, so I was just supposed to take electronics engineering. And during my time I stayed in Liberia, I also tried to find a balance between IT because I saw a need for IT. I saw that they said Helen Keller said there's nothing worse for a man to have eyesight but no vision. But I could visualize IT was something that was going to proliferate in the future. And then what I did was I tried to balance IT and electronics while doing it. So after that, there was a telecommunication company called Communal Liberia. They needed 2 interns. So we were about 48 students that went to take the exam and was 2 that were accepted. So I happened to be a colleague of ours from the same county, and I was the one who passed the test, and then I started working as a radio frequency fusion. So my responsibility was to do draft tests, analyze radio frequency, and analyze core drafts, 3G, 4G packets. That's why I started my career in telecommunication area. And
See,
fortunately for me, one day I came across Wilfred through Onismos, and Wilfred and I had a conversation till today's day. I still remember. He told me, I think we were doing a website. So by then I used to use uh, one window Apache, my SQL PHP. I used to
yeah,
set up the server on my computer and build websites, and that's
that's
how
right.
Wilfred said, like, okay, Wilfred said, you can become really better. So Wilfred told me that in everything you do, it doesn't matter how fast you do it, but how well you do it. And he told me that he encouraged me. He told me you can become better in anything you do if only you put your heart to it and try to get the best out of it. So I listened to Wilfred advice and I decided to look at life from a very different perspective,
That's right.
where I look at things. Okay, for example, looking at, okay, what's going to happen in the next 5 years? What are the technology? And then for some reason, I started studying, and Wilfred was the first person who ever helped me book my Microsoft exam. But then it was Windows 8 Wilfred, and then we wrote the exam. I was able to pass. And he advised me to get certain certifications, certain areas. And I've always kept Wilfred as a very good friend. He's a big brother to me, but we talk like friends, and we have immense respect for each other. And to an extent, he has been a mentor along the way, not only in the area of IT, but life and other, because he's a religious person and guide me into other areas of life. So that's how my career started. And then, luckily for me, Onismos, my friend Onismos Bokwa, he recommended me. He's also in the group. He recommended me to the United Nations for a job. And I sent my CV after some months later. Um, Prior to that, a company had bought the company I was working for, MTN. So I was
Yep.
working at MTN, and later I changed my role because I was both doing just radio frequency, doing draft tests and everything. So I started working on the ISP field technician, and I would deal with various routing and switching. I gained various routing and switching skills and knowledge, and
Yeah.
I also learned to work with people of diverse backgrounds because working in a telecommunication company, it has a lot of people, and so far, that's how my career been. It's been
Oh,
interesting. Always kept Richard very close. The least was very close. The least one, I even had our own IT business together. You know,
great, great. So you are coming from a telecoms area and you veer into cybersecurity. For somebody like me who might be coming from a setting that is slightly different, but I see that there is need for me to get into cybersecurity. What is the best way I could transition? I mean, you went to the University of Liverpool, got yourself a master's in cybersecurity. I believe that wasn't a very easy step to make, but what are some of the lessons that you had to transition from telecoms and pushing your way into cybersec?
So, how I look at situations and life in general based on the kind of personality that I have is I mostly make my decision based on set rules and look at things that basically that maybe my decision can be backed by evidence. So what do I mean by that? Why in telecommunication area I always got encouraged by Wilfred to do certification. So I started delving deep into IT, and during that time, I was doing routing and switching. We used to work with MikroTik, and then I realized I was just only becoming proficient in MikroTik, and I'm like, okay, let me look at other technology. It was when I started looking at other technology, and what I come to realize, versatility is very vital in this dispensation, because if you're not versatile, you're going to be kicked out.
I
Maybe
see.
if you just decide to focus on one thing, it's not bad to focus on one thing, but there
Okay.
are approaches to go about it, like Wilfred mentioned in the previous interviews. So one could refer to his interview and get more in depth to what I'm saying, but because we do not have a long section, so I don't want to delve deep into it. But it's good to be versatile, but at the same time, you have to pick specific thing that you can be very good at. So I have specific thing that I'm very good at, but at the same time, I
Yeah.
try to learn other things to also become, productive in it. So yeah. So what happened is, when I look at situation back then, I realized I did a research and realized cybersecurity was going to boom for the next 15 to 25 years by
That's
then.
right.
So And I looked at AI like, okay, let me just focus in the area. So I basically started with system security, and then I moved to network security and started studying various aspects of security. So now I can humbly sit here and tell you that, okay, I know what it takes to secure a system. I know what it takes to secure a network. I know what it takes to secure a physical infrastructure. And I'm glad I did, because the fact of thinking ahead of situations in life.
But you may be the rightful person to ask this question, Joseph. I have a number of friends who are worried that their jobs might be overtaken by AI, which is really becoming so real. And you have a master's in cybersecurity, and you're currently doing another master's in, is it data science and AI?
Yeah, data science and AI, and artificial intelligence.
Do
You know,
think, hold on, Joseph. Hold on, Joseph. Do you think, just be honest with us, do you think AI is going to take over our security auditing, our various tasks that we perform on a daily basis as cybersecurity professionals? What is your take on this?
How I look at AI, I just look at AI to be an enabler, something that will help enhance our flow of work. I don't look at AI to be something that is going to totally wipe out our job also. Of course, although there are concerns raised by fathers of AI and other issues, but if those concerns can keenly be looked into, where we can address appropriate standards, guidelines, and policies, and maybe standards, I would say, for example, look at the GDPR.
Yes.
But those are things that govern how data are to be used. So once we can establish those things to be able to utilize AI in a rightful direction, AI will be a very good tool to help humanity.
But is there a threat? Is there a threat now? Because you are going to entrust the tasks that I do every day to your AI systems, but the bad guys on the other end are using human intellect to make decisions and decide which area to maybe attack, etc. Is there a threat whereby you see AI not being really capable in deciphering the information that you're saying is governed by frameworks such as GDPR?
So basically, AI is going to take us some job, that I know. That's why I spoke about versatility. You understand? For example, certain jobs like cashier, those kind of jobs, they are going to be impacted by AI. This is why in life, we try to always find a balance. We cannot just like that. I just said earlier, try not to just be good at one thing.
Okay.
You understand? So if you're a person like me, I can use AI to do penetration testing. I can use AI to interpret data. I can use AI to do a lot of things for work. It just makes my work easier instead of me going to sit there and look at every data I ever come across to interpret it. I can just do a model that will be able to interpret my data. So AI is an enabler to an extent. I don't think humanity should look at it as a threat once there are set rules and policy to govern the usage of AI.
Joseph, you're very fascinating. Everything you're saying just pops a question in my mind. You're currently working for the United Nations, right? And I'm thinking, in Africa, you spoke about GDPR, which is a European framework. In Africa, we have, I think, the POPI Act in South Africa. I don't know if Ghana has something like that, and Liberia and other countries, and Egypt and so on. But I'm trying to think, you're sitting at this institution which is in charge of the different management and policy making of various countries at a global scale. How much of that are you seeing coming back home? How much of what is being implemented at those hierarchies are you seeing trickling down into African countries? Are we doing enough?
We are getting there. It's a progress. We have been behind a lot of things, but thank God to the proliferation of technology. I can sit here and tell you 5 years ago how Africa was in the technological arena is not like before. We have improved immensely. Even right now, there are a lot of our human assets that are being used to work in other countries. So it tells you that Africa is making a great progress. Back in the days, for you to just see a person like me working, maybe sitting down, doing programming, it was difficult because we had challenges. The technology was not available in most African countries. I remember Wilfred mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, in one of his interview that some days, even when I started this interview, I didn't even have computer, but I have to wait for my colleague. So that's how technology was a bit limited. But we are
So the
doing a
industry.
great progress, and the good thing is we are getting there.
Great, great. I'm just watching my time, and I do not want to make sure that I just continue asking questions. I'm also wondering, before I could get to a point whereby you're able to do a demo for us on some AI modeling, I'm just wondering, what is your day-to-day like? What happens when you get to work in the morning? What are those things that you do mostly? And if you had to change anything about what you're doing at work, what would be that thing that you feel like, oh, I would pull out of this industry or this job if this thing was maybe going to remain the same, or if they could change it, I would stay longer. What is your life like?
So my life, first of all, I'm a very basic person. Over the past years, I realized because if you want to get yourself somewhere in life, you have to start from somewhere. So my life is I get to office. I deal with clients. I manage a project. I manage a cloud infrastructure or like Office 365, emails, Azure platform and stuff like that. So is make sure when I get there, since I'm a more customer centric person, I get maybe past to most of the users and okay, is there any issue? Is there anything that I can help you with? And just to have interpersonal skills apart from just the work aspect. But before doing that, I make sure all my systems are up running, they are working perfectly. And then before going to meet up with the clients, to address some issues. Sometimes they may have personal issues technologically and they need help with. So I try to do that. And it has helped me very well that even where I work, if you are to maybe talk to the people that support it, will tell you, Jose is a hard worker, not to brag, but yeah. So I also take the time to do a lot of research in the area of technology, in the area of cybersecurity and technology precisely because technology is evolving. It's evolving, and as it evolves, we need to be able to be in a position to be adequately addressed or be able to use this technology. And I can't do that if I just sit down behind my desk and just watch YouTube all the time, or maybe just on talking to something. I have to.
It's like you're reading my mind. I was about to ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you use social media? Do you even use social media at all?
So I only have 3 social media apps that I use, and 4. I use Twitter, I use Telegram. It's the reason I use Telegram is to be able to be in the group chat with you guys. And Wayfair was the one who even told me, and I downloaded it. I use Twitter because sometimes I like to laugh and I follow basketball pages. I'm a huge fan of basketball. It's one of my hobbies. And I have a LinkedIn, which is for professional reason, and I also have Instagram. The Instagram I have it because I have passion for photography, so I take photo and post it. So I'm a photographer in the process as well. Snapchat and TikTok, no, I'm not there.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much, Joseph. Are you comfortable now just to go ahead and run us through what you got for us before I can open it up to the floor for a few questions?
Let me share my screen.
Okay.
So though I have a background in cybersecurity, but I'm also growing a huge passion for AI, and because I see that it's going to become an interesting area to delve into in the coming future. So basically, have I shared my screen?
Yes, you have. We can see it.
Okay, 1 minute. I think I shared the wrong one. Are you seeing this? This Jupiter
we can
PY?
see some hotel PIP install pandas. We can see some good. Nairobi location hotel. I don't know if this is a project you're working on.
so basically, this is I'm trying to train a model. In what I'm trying to train this model, I'm using an approach called word to vector, which is basically a form of mapping, that enable similar vector representation of words, with similar meanings. You understand? The essence behind this is understanding the precise context to which customers, maybe your customer made certain comments. For example, sometimes you're on your phone and maybe you said something about maybe iPad, and then next moment you see the iPad pops up. You understand? Yeah,
Correct.
so trying to understand. So these are algorithm that's very, 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 very helpful in determining how the customer feel about certain things.
So,
You
so
understand?
are you telling us, Joseph, to say our phones are spying on us?
No, I'm not saying your phone spy on you, but sometimes when you like for me, when I'm not using a specific app, I go and disable the microphone. It happens, you understand? Where there are issues, yeah, there are issues where sometimes when you type keywords like maybe or water bottle, after some while you see your
It's an
Instagram,
advert.
yeah, at the adverts start coming to you. So basically, this model, this is what the model. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I just want to do a little
That's fine.
introduction of what I did because it's a project that I'm working on presently. So it's because to just to really understand and what the vector concept is used around targeted word to represent a neural network.
Okay.
With hidden layers that encodes the words. So, for example, if you look here, I first went and got review from 20 hotels. I'm based in Somalia, but I work between Somalia and Kenya. At times, I'm assigned Kenya office to carry on specific tasks also. So I'm talking to you from Somalia. I live in Kenya, but due to the nature of Somalia, I wasn't able to gather a lot of data of hotel, but I was able to gather from Kenya. So
Okay.
basically, what I want to achieve here is to be able to maybe when people talk about hotel, when people want to understand, maybe they want to find out about hotel, to be able to offer people information. So this AI is going to be able to tell you the type of the hotels, their ratings, and in an even where both hotels have the same rating, it will tell you these two hotels are okay. You can compare which you like. Maybe you could look at other factors like environment also, but they both have the same rating. So if you look here,
Yeah.
what I did was I had to first import a lot. First, before importing the library, I have to install the library. This is I'm using Anaconda Navigator, but in Anaconda Navigator, I'm using Jupyter PY. This is what I use for most of my program because right now I'm not I do not have Python installed, but I can just extract the code from here and even put it in the Python and be able to do what I can. So what I first have to do, I'll have to install a library, and Pandas is one of the libraries in Python. So what I did, I imported the library. Those are two libraries there. And maybe in case of any error within the data, I also specify that it should be ignored here. So what I did was the data that I got, I converted this. There's a data in an Excel sheet, and I converted the data to a CSV file, and I imported the data here into it. So now Python since Python reads the CSV file, Python grab the CSV file, and then I had to use this line. This line right here is for printing the data.
Okay.
To the rows and column, and this also for printing the sample rows. This one here. So what I did, I print, and when I ran the code,
yes,
it came up with the hotels. It tell you the number. It start with 0, 1, 2, 3. So you can see the hotels, the locations, and the rating of each hotels. You understand? So you can see the rating of each hotel. So to be able to represent this to be able to represent this in the graphical interface, because we human beings, we understand graphics more than just words or number.
right.
And so because that's how our mind is wired. So I had to import another module because it's called Matplot. It's a library. You understand? So I imported, what you see here, those are all the downloading of the various libraries and its other parts. So what I did was I came here and what we're trying to do is to visualize the distribution target now. So we try to see if the target variable has a balanced distribution or not. So basically each priority type has its own the role it has learned. You understand? So if the data will have been imbalanced, and for example, the less number of rows, you understand, it will also give you the value of, for example, how many times the hotel appear. So how many times the hotel appear with the same rating. For example, maybe John Hotel or Wilfred Hotel have the same rating, so it will tell me the value of the rating. So I printed it by grouping it but the rating, also the value from here. From these two lines right here. So if you see right here, you see that the number of hotel with 5.2 rating is 1. The number of hotel with 6.2 rating is 1. The number of hotel with 6.7 is one. And if you come down, you see the number of hotel with 7.4. There are two different hotels with 7.4 rating, and there are two hotels with 7.7 rating. So I came here, and then this is where I utilize the Matplot module that I got, and it'll be able to tell you the rating value. So it even represented here. You see with the graph. So because at the end of the day, you want to be able to advertise, and you also have to be able to give the customer an insight. So let's so John type latest hotel in Nairobi. Maybe you're coming for vacation, maybe you're coming for some meeting, some business meeting, because I understand, maybe you're coming for training. So you want to have an idea of the hotel. So it's basically about helping other people to make informed decisions. So this is another library called how they call Skillend. I had to install it, and then I imported it and be able to define a particular variable with regards to the hotel data. As you can see, I created a vector raster. Then basically, the neural network, computer understand numbers. It does not understand letters. So I have to convert it to numbers. So I had to convert these data into numbers, and this is how I came across here. If you look here, you see the number. If they took the first four hotels. It took the first four hotels and it gave the rating for each. So if you can see, the list of hotels were many. So for example, if you look at Arizona Arizona hotel here, well, if we look here, where is Arizona? Arizona Comfort Hotel, which is number 4. Here. So it tells you the hotel Arizona who is on number 4, it came with number 1. It has the only hotel that is uniquely rated. So if you come to City Hotel, you say it is at number 3, but this hotel which is a unique hotel. Sometimes people be like, I want to go to a hotel that is that is expensive. I don't want to go to cheap. I don't want to go to this. I want to go to a hotel that is rated this and this and that. So so this is what all this is about. And I'm still going to continue, but for here I start here. There are other areas I have to explore. The part of learning is to be able to do research and explore other areas.
Great. Wow. I'm just intrigued. This is really interesting. And as I look at it, I'm beginning to think of how the Airbnb app works.
Yes.
The app which actually lists the various resorts and everything else, and how it ties the ratings into that. But I don't want to keep you long. I just want to give a few people here who might have questions, whether on this model that you just shared or anything that you've just shared previously, and see if we can just wrap up with this conversation. Any questions? Just unmute yourself, and then you can just ask Joseph a question.
What are the major roles that we're expecting to be doing in our
So basically, before I proceed to answering your question, before you do anything, you have to make sure you have passion for it, because passion is what's going to help you to stand out. You want to be unique, and there are ways about to go being unique in everything you do. You do not want to be somewhere where you work and then you are not counted on, and you are not known for, you are not known, because this career will find ourselves. You have to be solution oriented. You also have to be able to relate to people, build your interpersonal skills. But the first and foremost things is to be able to gain expertise knowledge. You have to have passion, because having the knowledge will help you stand out. It will help you stand out in the field of IT. It's going to help you, even if you're a taxi driver. How you do your job, it matters a lot. This is why people will recommend you. So the first and foremost thing is to first develop passion that will help you to gain the expertise and the knowledge in this area. Another thing I will come to point out is continuous learning. Learning can come in various form. You can go and learn what you may learn from class. You may not learn everything from class, by the way. There are things that I do that I didn't learn from class. I had to take the time to do research, do certifications, and involve myself in other tasks, in other projects at work, and also have a mentor, somebody who guides you through. Another thing is be able to be a problem solving and analytical person in the field of cybersecurity. you have to also have a very, very ethical mindset, meaning cybersecurity comes with certain ethics and norms. They are where you carry yourself. Just how as a hotel waitress or bar waiter, there's a way you carry yourself. Cybersecurity comes with such a responsibility. And another thing is how you communicate. It should be very important. And you should also be willing to work with other people and be a part of a team. That's how you will grow. You have to have a proactive approach. You understand? And you need to understand the cybersecurity landscape. So overall, to be able to stand out in as a professional person in the cybersecurity area, you have to get a technical knowledge. You have to continuously learn, have values for ethics, be an effective communicator, collaborative skills. You have a proactive mindset and understand the cybersecurity landscape so that you'll be able to be a better person to your organization. So having said that, I'll come to your question. In cybersecurity, there are things you're going to process. You're going to process people, processes, and technology. So you have to be able to adjust yourself, to be able to work with various systems, be able to work with various people, understand the various processes, but mostly you are going to work on network, you're going to work on systems, and system could be maybe on-premise or cloud premise systems. So yeah, so I hope I'm not talking much.
Desiree, please go ahead and ask your question. You got a very valid question. Please go ahead and ask. Before Proud comes in, I see Proud's hand is up. Desiree can just unmute and just ask your question. I don't know if she's still there. Okay, here's the question that she dropped. She actually sent this question directly to me, and she's asking to say, when you look at the university space, there is a bit of, I should actually say a contention. There are professors who are saying AI is going to be a tool. There are professors who also are saying AI is going to disrupt the educational sector. You look at tools such as ChatGPT, for example, and how students are now using it for the various tasks they're doing in school. Do you think this is going to do more harm than good?
How I look at this whole subject of AI is that,
yes.
For example, you live in your countries, there are rules you live by, right? We cannot live freely because it's going to create a lot of chaos for the global village at large. It is true. Even recently, Italy was one of the countries that banned ChatGPT because of its usage in the area of privacy. You understand? Okay. In the area of privacy, Italy banned ChatGPT. Other countries are also exploring other means to ban ChatGPT. But this is not going. This wouldn't happen if we have or set rules and standards to govern the usage of AI. I did stress it from the beginning of this this interview, and I said, even like how we live as Christians, we live by standards like thou shalt not do this, thou shalt not do that. You know, you live by it. You know, as a person, you can just live without a purpose. You understand? So how I look at AI is if AI is really governed to an extent that it is governed in a way to get the good out of AI is going to be very beneficial to society. If we ignore AI right now and just allow, for example, look at the deepfake technology.
Yes.
They are making the Pope wearing I don't know what do you call it.
Right. You're right.
The winter jacket. I see. I saw on CNN they were showing police running behind Donald Trump the other day. Let's assume, John, you are running for presidency. You are running for presidency, and there's no policy to guide AI. Or day before your election, for example, somebody leak a video or you slapping your pastor. Or day before that, it's gonna impact the result of the election because there's no impact the result of the election. If AI is not government, it's going to lead to a lot of things. And I believe we should truly take a step back and look at how to govern AI so that we can use it to maximize the best out of it for humanity.
I think that really comes handy. It's all about making sure that AI is well governed. Otherwise, without governing it, it will actually spiral into some serious chaos. Proud, that would be my last question before I can ask Joseph to just give us a rundown of a few other questions. Proud, are you still there?
I'm there. Thank you, John.
Awesome.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Joseph, for the presentation, for coming out and sharing with us. My question is a multi-part question. The first part is about your background in the UN, what the work that you are doing in the UN. I think what I find interesting is that you have gone this path. You've got a master's degree and you've got some certifications as well. What would be your advice in terms of going for a career or getting opportunities? And I heard you said you are a consultant in the UN. Does that mean that you are not an employee of the UN and you work? You are coming in as if you can just elaborate on that.
I think you meant contractor.
Yes, or contractor, which means that he's employed on a short-term contract or on contracts, something like that.
Maybe he'll break that down.
If he can break that down for us.
I'm a bit struggling to put your question together and give you a very unique answer, but I think I can be able to touch the surface here. So basically, every other organization, there are different levels of employees or staff. For example, there are guys who work with Microsoft. They are not staff, but they are consulting. They are contractors, and
right.
So United Nations is like every other organization. So, but what United Nations focuses on is to be able to provide opportunity for everybody of diverse background. So even if they cannot be able to offer you a staff role, they can give you an opportunity to make impact to society. And personally, I work in Mogadishu, I support a project, and I'm very happy about that because at the end of the day, I'm promoting to peace, which is a very global important issue. If we live in peace with ourselves, with the people around us, it's very good for life. And there are a lot of people from diverse background that work there, like I said, and my background with like you, I didn't hear you ask question with regards to my background and how I came in the UN, right?
It is alluding to that whether the masters played a role in that, or it is something to do with certifications. And I know maybe it's a bit unfair. It cannot be just one thing that, but yeah. How can one get an opportunity, especially as a consultant? Not as an employee.
Okay, so I think I understand your question. One thing I'll always tell people is you can get all the education in life. If your people skills is very poor, you're not going to get somewhere in life. I know a master degree holder, PhD degree holder who are sitting home with their computer or maybe with their phone, they are not working. So me coming to the UN is all about, first, I'll give the Almighty God praise for first putting me in a position where I was prepared. So when the opportunity came, so basically what you do is like I said in life, you try to build good network. And like, for example, we are all here, we are discussing this. Maybe you will come across something today or tomorrow, like, oh, I know Joe. Joe is a cybersecurity person. Joe can do this job. So, and also you'll be able to market yourself and sell yourself. So how I came into the UN, I cannot tell you, say, oh, it is based only on certifications or on what I know, or maybe just only my networking. I firstly had to prepare that, okay, one day I'm going to get an opportunity somewhere. I need to first have a path. So how I started my career was I always had a plan of where I want to see myself in life and who are the kind of person I want to become, because the essence of life is to become better every day, like I said. So I started in a telecommunication environment, and then from there I started working internet service provisioning. I started dealing with customers, and all those experiences and skill set that I gained, it prepared me. So when the opportunity came and I was recommended to work in the United Nations and working with other people and try also building network, so that because life doesn't just end here, you want to see yourself become better. So yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Great. I can just read Proud's curiosity. Actually, Proud worked as an IT manager in one of these non-government organizations. I think that is why his mind is like, burning for such questions. I've actually realized that these large organizations have a very different approach. I've seen even the big five, the tech big five. You get to be assigned more of a project, and you run with that project for a certain number of years, and then it progresses like that. I have my last question for you, Joseph. You've just been talking about your experiences and how work is like. What is one challenge that you remember that you faced in your work environment that really gave you a very difficult time? And how did you solve that challenge?
Okay, so one of the challenge I kind of keep having to deal with. Sometimes it gets tiring that you're a human being. You want to maybe stop at a certain point, but how the landscape of technology is, things keep evolving, and to be able to keep up with it, it's not an easy task. Writing certifications, sometimes you probably be out of job, you don't even have money to write certification, you have to make other sacrifices in other area. And it is very important because as we address, as you invest into yourself, it also help keeps you in the job market and to be able to provide for your family. So the rapid changing technology has been something for me that is very challenging. However, because of the passion I have for my job, the passion I have to become a better person, so I try to just study every time, read, and just read.
Are there times you felt like you can't do it anymore?
There are times you get overwhelmed, especially when you are faced by other issues of life, because life doesn't just revolve around just your work. You understand? There are times you need to take a break, but then there's other new certification come up, or there's other new training come up. You have to be involved with it. So you have to be able to find a balance.
I hear you. Well,
yeah.
Joseph, thank you so much for making the time to come and break down all these challenges, experiences, and the various nuances we just had in the tech career. I'm pretty sure this will be very helpful for somebody, and someone will be able to take it up from here and be able to use this experience towards their advantage. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.